Yeah, did it work?
So, okay. Excellent.
What email? Okay. Awesome. Takes how to plan for US. Yeah, so we'll kind of give you a brief on how to plan for US. Uh, usually there's January admissions and September admissions. I think Montclair University only has September.
We do have January,
You have
but
Jan as
we're
well.
closed for January since we
Yeah.
started last week.
Yeah. So I'll hand it over to Naomi here, and she is the representative for Montclair University at so she's not based in India, but she visits us often, so it's really nice to have her here.
I'm typically here once in the spring and once in the fall, so I'm always excited to visit Ahmedabad.
Yeah. So we have
So I guess I'll just introduce myself while we get this together. But again, hello everyone. My name is Naomi. I'm the Assistant Director of International Recruitment at Montclair State University. Those of you who might not be aware of who we are a public research university located in the state of New Jersey. So we do have a large Indian population in the state of New Jersey. So some of you might have family members there or know of people that are in New Jersey. But hopefully today I could give you guys a little bit of an idea of our school as well as maybe general information about who we are and how to go ahead and apply. I'm not sure what level of education you guys are looking for. If you guys want to tell me in the chat if you're looking for a bachelor's program or a master's program, and then based off of what you say, I could kind of skip over some of the things that might not be for your level of education interest. Oops. Okay. So I'm just going to generally assume that most of you guys are probably interested in masters. That's typically the level of education a lot of people are looking at. But so just about Montclair State University, we're the second largest school in the state of New Jersey. And we are located just outside of New York City, about 19 kilometers. If you look in the background, I'm not sure how clear it is on your screen, but there are like little tall buildings. That's the New York City skyline, actually. So from a part of campus, you could see New York City on a nice clear day. We are one of the research doctoral universities in the state. We are one of 4 public research universities. And we have 13 different schools and colleges where your different majors and programs are housed beneath. And just a little bit about our numbers. We were established in 1908, and currently we have about 22,500 students on campus. So about 18,000 of the 22,500 are our undergraduate student population. The remaining would be our graduate student population. So 22,500 students just make us like a medium-sized university in the US. So something I like to point out is that we provide resources of a large university, but we do provide you with a small, intimate classroom experience. So you're not just a face in a large crowd. Your professors know who you are. They do notice when you're not in class. So that is something to consider if you want to be in a large university, but still want to have a small classroom experience. So we do have a 17:1 student to faculty ratio and an average classroom size of about 23 students. As I've mentioned, we do have the 13 colleges and schools, and we have over 300 different majors, minors, and concentrations ranging from bachelor's all the way to PhD programs. We did receive about $22 million in external grant funding for this year. And then we do also have residence halls for students to live on campus, and about 5,300 of those of our students live on campus. We are also very well connected to public transportation. So right on campus, we have two transit train stops. And then we also have a public bus stop on campus. So you'll see different buses driving through campus. I assume most of you guys have probably never heard of Montclair, which is totally fine. But if you probably Googled best places in New Jersey to live, you're going to find that Montclair is going to be on that list. Montclair is a very safe neighborhood, and it's a place where you can find lots of nature, so parks, rivers. But then we also have a really nice downtown area where there's a big art scene with different museums and theaters, and then a really diverse option of food and restaurants. A lot of families like to raise their kids in Montclair, and then a lot of young working adults like to live in Montclair and then take the train into the city for work. And then parents always like to ask me about how safe campus is. The town of Montclair is safe, and then the campus itself, we have Montclair State University police. So it's not public safety officers. Our police staff are trained by the state of New Jersey, so they can actually issue you a ticket or arrest you if you do anything wrong. But then they're also there to protect, and they are really accessible. So for example, I was putting on an event and I emailed the police station to just let them know that there's a big bus that's going to be on campus, and they responded to me very quickly. And then on the day before my event, they actually reached out to me first to make sure that I was all set. So they're really on top of it, and you'll see them walking around campus, driving in their cars as well. And I always, don't have a problem with them at all. The other thing is that we offer students an app where you could download it, sign up, and you'll get any notifications about maybe school closures or delayed openings, things like that. So for example, last week, we were hit with 3 snowstorms in a week. So we actually had a delayed opening one of the days. So like in the morning, I got a text message from the university saying, we're opening offices at 11 o'clock. So it really just is a great way for you to at least be notified of the different updates about school. So as I've mentioned, we have the 2 train stops on campus that go straight into New York City. So if you look at the left-hand side, there's a yellow circle. Those are the 2 stops. And if you follow it all the way through to the right, you'll see that goes straight into Penn Station, New York. So that's about a 40 to 50-minute train ride. And then if you're driving, depends on the time of day and where in New York City, but it could be as quick as 30 minutes from campus into New York City. So you have Montclair State University in Montclair, but we are also, lots of different options around Montclair itself. So in terms of arts and the performing arts, we do have a theater right on campus. So that picture on the top right-hand corner, that's our on-campus theater where we have different productions. Students are welcome to buy discounted tickets. But we also have the NJ which is New Jersey Performing Arts Center, that puts on different productions throughout the year. You could buy a ticket and attend. That's about 30 minutes away from campus. Ooh, I went backwards. And then we also have lots of professional sports teams in the area. So for example, Red Bulls we call it soccer, everyone else calls it football. But the football team actually plays on campus. They have like a tier 2 team that plays on our campus. We also have the New York Jets as well as the New York Giants. They are New York, but they actually play in New Jersey, about 30 minutes away from campus, in the same stadium. And we also have New York Yankees and the Mets that are professional baseball teams, as well as the Nets and the Knicks, which are basketball teams. We are 30 minutes away from Newark Liberty International Airport. That's the airport we tell our students to fly into. There is a direct flight from Delhi to Newark Liberty International Airport. So that's the one that we recommend students to take. And then again, we are actually on the foothills or side of the mountains. So we are surrounded by lots of nature. So lots of parks as well as hiking trails for you to enjoy on a nice day. Here are some of our famous alumni and former attendees. Former attendees because, for example, Bruce Willis who's a very famous actor, but people I think are too young to know who Bruce Willis is nowadays because everyone looks at me like they don't know who he is. He attended for about 2 years, and then I believe he got too famous and never came back to finish off his degree. But he is a former attendee. We have Danielle Ramirez, who's also an actress. She's, I believe, on the show Entourage that was popular a few years ago. Jane Lute is the UN Special Envoy and former Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security. We have Mr. Ajit Kubani, Yogi Berra, and I believe I always get his name wrong, but yes, Herman Skoll, who's the former president of Bristol Myers pharmaceutical tech company. So Yogi Berra actually we have a museum on campus dedicated to Mr. Yogi Berra, and our baseball field is actually named after Yogi Berra as well. Since you guys are currently in India and probably can't visit us in person, we do provide a virtual campus tour for you guys. If you guys scan the QR code on the left-hand side, you can click around and take a look at the different buildings around campus. But I do have some photos to kind of give you an idea of the feel. So I feel like it kind of gives California feels. It has the white walls and the red rooftop. A lot of our academic buildings, some of our office buildings are located. And then the other side of campus is typically where you'll find your residence halls on campus. So this is one of our dining halls, and we'll go over some dining options later. This is one of the classrooms. There are different setups in the different buildings. This is our School of Communication Media lab. So I'm not sure if there are any undergrads, but if you are an undergrad student and you're not interested in STEM, I would like to highlight that we actually have a lot of different options, not just STEM programs. We do have programs in the recording arts, in communications, in media, sociology, social sciences. We also have things like sustainability science. We actually have a really great dance and performing arts theater program as well that's super competitive. But for example, the School of Communication Media, we actually have a partnership with Sony. So Sony provides us with up-to-date equipment. We also work with PSCG, which is a energy provider in New Jersey. They work with our sustainability science department as well. There's lots of internships for our undergraduate students in the summer through PSCG as well. So with 22,500 students, you might ask, is there space around campus? There is. So for example, I think this is our business building. So if you can see, there are different spaces where you can spend between classes, eat, study, have a group project. And then around campus as well, there's lounges that are specific. So for example, we have a commuter's lounge only for our commuting students. And on a nice day, there are different activities going around on campus outside where you could, I think this is the day where you could kind of take a look at the different clubs and organizations and sign up, and they have different games and things like that. My favorite activity in college was to find the free food, which you can find lots of around campus. So in terms of our international students, so we have, I think, a little over 630 international students as of fall 2023. Our spring semester just started last week and it's ad drop today, I believe. So after today, I'll probably have updated numbers on how many international students we have, but we are constantly growing each semester. We do have 74 different countries represented by our international student population, and these are our top 10 countries. And so, yes, India is our #1 international student population currently. I will say everyone else after India, they are pretty close in numbers. So 3 students can probably make that really change a lot. In terms of our rankings and recognitions, Princeton Review ranked our business school one of the top business schools in the country for 2023. Money Magazine as well as Forbes ranked us America's best value colleges. US News and World Report ranked us number 88 amongst national public universities. And the Wall Street Journal ranked us number 4 in New Jersey and number 37 amongst public universities. So we're very well known in our area. These are the 13 colleges and schools. You do not need to know all of them right now. You'll get to know them as you are a student. So we have over 300 different majors, minors, and concentrations. So these are just some of our undergraduate popular programs, but if you would like to see the full list of programs, it's on that link right there. I guess something I want to highlight is that the business analytics program for our undergraduate students is a new program that started in the fall. So that's always something to look at just because that's a very popular field I think a lot of students are looking for. So we just started that for our undergraduate students. Of course, computer science, data science are very popular programs, as well as sustainability science. Food science and nutrition is also very popular, and our business programs are probably our most popular program on the undergraduate side. For our graduate students on the line today, here are some of our graduate programs, and this is our link for the full list of programs. On the graduate side, business analytics, MBA, HR analytics, and digital marketing analytics are popular in our business school. And then our computer science, data science, cybersecurity, IT program are obviously very popular programs for our international students as well. We are seeing an increase in our clinical psychology applications. Nutrition and food science is a very popular program as well, and the earth and environmental science program. However, again, if you're interested in a non-STEM program, that's totally fine. Definitely take a look at our website to see if there's something that we offer. I will say we offer more non-STEM programs on our undergraduate side than our graduate, but for example, we have a music performance program that's available even on the graduate side. That's something to consider if you're interested in music. 93% of our students are employed within 2 years of graduation, and based off of our location, which is close to New York, a lot of our students are doing internships not only in New Jersey, but in New York City as well. Here are some of our companies that our students are currently working at. Some are more internationally recognized, and then you'll see some of them that are more local. So anything with the New York sign on it, that's our local professional sports teams, and then MetLife Stadium is where they actually play their games. Our career services teams are housed within each academic college, so they're focused solely on that specific field. They're not focused on business as well as public health and computer science. Those are very different sectors, so they focus solely on the academic programs that are offered within that school. So as you are a student coming to the US to study, of course, your classroom experience is the most important, but I always tell students you want to think about what you're doing outside of the classroom. So we do have different options for sports. We are a Division III athletic team with 18 different sports options that we offer. We do have study abroad. I know when you're coming to the US, you're studying abroad in the US, but then if you are most likely an undergrad student looking to go abroad for a semester or a year, that there are options as well. We do have 10 different residence halls available on campus, 120 different clubs and organizations that could be maybe religiously focused, culturally focused, hobbies, extensions of your education. There's always something you can find of interest. We do have 38 different intramural and club sports, as well as 34 fraternities and sororities on campus. In terms of our athletics, here are the different sports divided by men's varsity and women's varsity. Something I like to highlight is that we do have an ice house on campus, so our students can go ice skating for free along with your Montclair State University ID. It includes free ice skate rentals as well, as long as you come during the public skating hours. We also have a swimming pool on campus and the gym if you wanted to upkeep your physical activity while you're a student. So we do have on-campus residence halls, of course. Something to note is that we don't require students to live on campus, but I've always recommended to students. It's a great way for you to have support because there's always staff available. They are putting on different events for students that live in these residence halls. It's also available for graduate students as well. The only thing is if you have maybe a spouse or kids, you cannot live in the residence hall with your family. It's only available for the applicant. So, but other things to consider is that it's really convenient to get to campus. You could roll out of bed and walk over to campus or take the shuttle to your classes. You don't need to worry about any public transportation expenses. So nothing for the bus or for the train or an Uber. All of our residence halls have free Wi-Fi and utilities, and that includes laundry as well. So those are some reasons you should think about living on campus. This is a picture of a typical on-campus residence hall room. There's a bed, a desk, and a dresser for each person in the room. So for example, this room has 2 people to the room, so there are 2 of each. There's also a small closet for each person. So in terms of dining options, there are lots of different options around campus. And some of these are buffet style, and some of them are kind of like you pay for whatever entree you get. So there are different options, and there's a building where all the options within that building are going to change every year, I believe, just to kind of invite local eateries to come and have a space on campus to introduce our students to different options. In terms of the application process, your counselors here are here to assist you through that, and they can definitely take you through that. But just quickly, so that you have an idea of what you need to kind of get together. For our international students, we do require some type of English proficiency exam. So for our undergraduate students, our requirements are TOEFL 70 or higher, IELTS overall band of 6.0, Duolingo 95, or Pearson PT 48. We also accept ITEP score of 3.7. Sometimes I come across students that have taken an SAT or an ACT, but have not yet taken a TOEFL or an IELTS. That's totally okay. So we don't require SAT or ACT for admissions, but if you've taken it, then you can submit it as proof of English proficiency. So there's no need for you to take 2 different tests. You can take the SAT and just submit the SAT. For our graduate students, the requirements are a bit higher. So we're looking at a TOEFL score of 83 or higher, IELTS overall band of 6.5, Duolingo 105, Pearson PT 53, or ITEP 4.5. So sometimes I get the question, what if my score is lower than what's listed here? The answer is you have to retake your exam. These are minimum score requirements, so you need to make sure you meet the minimum scores. Sometimes I get asked, I have a 6.5 overall IELTS. Should I retake it? If you're looking to come to Montclair, there's no reason to retake it. If you already meet the minimum, a higher score doesn't really change anything. We just want to make sure that you have the language skill to understand what's going on in class and be successful in the classroom. We do not accept proof of medium of instruction in English. We don't accept those. For our undergraduate students, you can submit your unofficial English scores to your portal directly. For our graduate students, we do require the official scores when you apply. So for example, if you've taken your IELTS, you need to request for IDP to send over your IELTS score directly over to Montclair. This is probably not going to apply to anybody here, so I'm just going to skip it. But if you are a US citizen that is on the line, then we will waive your English score. The only other thing that might apply to maybe an undergraduate student that's here, if you are currently studying at an international school where your curriculum is maybe an IB curriculum or the IGCSEs or an IB program or AP, those students can also get an English waiver if you are at a high school that provides one of those curriculums. I didn't see, no one said anything about being an undergrad student. So
I don't think there's any.
okay, I'm gonna skip the undergrad application information just because I typically get more graduate interest. Okay, so for our graduate students, so you'll apply online with your counselor, and working with your counselor here at MyStudia will automatically waive your application fee. So definitely work with your counselor. And then you'll need to provide your counselor with your transcripts from all of your universities or institutions after high school. So if you've actually, if you've done like a diploma program here and then you went on to do your bachelor's, then you do need to submit both your bachelor's and your diploma program transcripts. If you have completed your undergraduate studies and you have your provisional certificate or diploma, then you can go ahead and submit that as well. So currently we do still require an official NACCES transcript evaluation, which I will go over in the next few slides. And then you can ask your questions then. An official English language exam that I went over previously. A lot of our programs currently do not require a GRE or GMAT, but there are still programs that do. So if you have a specific program that of interest, the best thing to do is check the website to see if that program waives the GRE or GMAT. With that being said, a lot of the popular programs like our analytics programs, our MBA program, the computer science, data science, IT, cybersecurity programs, those do not require a GRE, so you're okay with that. For personal statements, typically there is one personal statement, but there are certain programs that have specific prompts that they want you to address within your personal statement. So it doesn't hurt to check out your specific program interest page to see if there are certain things that you need to include within your personal statement. Letters of recommendation also varies by program, but for a master's program, it's typically two, and for our PhD programs, it's typically 3 letters of recommendation. And then depending on the program, they might ask for a writing sample, portfolio, resume, interview, or audition. Okay, in terms of a transcript evaluation, and I'm just gonna kind of briefly go over what it is because not everyone knows what it is. So you guys most likely studied here in India and you have transcripts that are on the Indian scale. We are in the US, so what we currently require is that you use a third-party company to put your Indian transcripts on a US scale for us, okay? So the overall umbrella company or organization we use is the NACES, NACES, and within that umbrella, there are this individual third-party companies. So you can choose any one of those. Each company has a different processing time period and different costs related to it. So whatever you're looking for, you can kind of search and take a look and choose. The only thing you need to make sure is that you request the course by course evaluation, and then it needs to provide your degree equivalency and your GPA calculation. And then you need to request for this company to send over your evaluation directly over to Montclair. Of course, the advantage is that you'll have a copy of your report if you need it for any future work or immigration purposes. And then this does save some time in the overall admissions process. And the disadvantage is that there is a cost, and that cost is covered by you directly. But we also have a second option where we, Montclair, provides a free transcript evaluation option. Of course, not everyone that requests this free evaluation can be approved for it, but it's always something worth trying out for. The advantage is that the evaluation is free unless there's additional verification that is required. The disadvantage is that it does take a little bit more time for you to go through this process. And secondly, we actually do not share the evaluation with you. So if you need a copy of it, that's not something we will provide to you. So if you want to be considered for the free evaluation, these are your steps. You just want to make sure you submit your application and all of the other required documents. And as long as the evaluation is the only thing that's missing, you'll get an email from us that says we have this free evaluation option. Do you want to be considered for it? At that time, you can fill out that survey and indicate your interest. And this is where there's the additional time portion of the overall admissions process, because you do need to allow a week or so for admissions to take a look at your application and make a decision on whether you are approved or not for the free evaluation. So if you are selected for the free evaluation, you'll get an email with your next steps where you submit your documents over to Spantran, which is the company that we are using. And once Spantran receives all the documents that they've requested from you, they will complete the evaluation and send over the evaluation directly over to us. Once we receive it, we'll send your application over to the academic department for review for admission. If you are not selected, then you would need to go with option number one, where you get your own evaluation and you submit that evaluation. Again, not everyone that requests this free evaluation will be approved for it. There are a limited number that's available. And in general, you do need to meet minimum admissions criteria. And for any of our students on the line that have a 3-year degree, you need to, you'll only really be considered for the free evaluation if your undergraduate institution is a NAC A grade or higher. And then overall, the availability of the service really depends on the documents that you've provided, the timing of the submission, and our financial resources available at that time. So just make sure that you check your emails about the free service that we offer. And then if you're approved, there is a personalized link where you submit your documents. Please make sure you don't share that link because it's a one-time use link. Okay. Most important, our next intake is the fall admission. I believe our start date is September 4th, and then we have in-person orientation for our graduate students the week before. So I think that's the end of August is when our orientation is. The applications are due by June 1st. With that being said, there are some programs that have earlier deadlines and some that only are available in the fall. So you want to make sure you check the website to see your specific program. With that being said, our most popular business programs and the computer science related programs, those are safe for the June 1st deadline. However, I know that India has a hard time with releasing visa appointments, and our students typically have trouble obtaining our getting their visa appointment in time. So for the fall, we typically start issuing our I-20s in March. So right now would be a great time for you to submit your application so that you have your admission hopefully by the end of February. And then by March, we'll probably start sending out emails about submitting your documents for your fall I-20. That will give you at least 5 months to try to obtain your visa appointment to join us in time for the fall intake. If anyone is interested in spring 2025, that application deadline is November 1st. Our applications for next year will probably open in August or September of this year for spring. And then everyone loves to ask me this question: are there scholarships for graduate programs? We do not have scholarships for our graduate programs, but we do have one of the lowest tuition rates in the New York City area. So I'll go over the numbers afterwards, but you'll see it and you'll see that it's a really good value for you. We do have assistantships. We have about 200 positions available each year. I always like to set the right expectations. There are 200 positions and over 4,000 graduate students. So it is highly competitive and extremely limited. So we do tell students that they need to be ready to self-fund their program. If you still want to go ahead and apply for an assistantship, that's fine. What happens is once you're admitted and you've paid your non-refundable deposit, if there is a position that's available, our graduate school and the academic department will notify students about the position and more information about how to apply for it directly. We, as Montclair, have partnered up with Scholarship Universe, which is a platform where you could create your profile, and it'll provide external scholarship opportunities that you could like search and apply for. They've vetted all of these scholarship opportunities, so it's not like you're going on Google and just searching scholarships and giving away your information to God knows who. But this is only available for students once they've paid the non-refundable deposit. So this cost of attendance is A, an estimate, and B, based off of this current academic year. So the fall 2023 to spring 2024. So this means that numbers for the tuition and fees will probably increase anywhere from 2 to 3% by the time you are applying for the fall intake or for the spring intake. So focusing on the graduate numbers, this is our graduate tuition and fees generally for most of our master's programs. This for 18 credits, which is the minimum of 9 credits a semester that you need to take as a graduate student. It's 17,066. If you compare our tuition rates to other schools in our area, you're going to find that that's half the cost of other schools in the New York City area. So that's what I mean by you're getting it's a great value college, because you're getting a high quality education for a really great cost. For the I-20 this year, overall students had to show $43,311 for the I-20 to be issued. So once you're admitted, what you're going to do is you're going to start getting emails from us letting you know of your next steps, which typically is applying for your I-20. We'll provide you instructions on what documents to submit and how to do so. If you have questions, you can always show that email to your advisors here and they'll assist you in that process as well. For the fall semester, the deadline for the I-20 is June 15th. Again, I don't recommend that you wait till June 15th to submit your documents so that you have the maximum time available to go for your visa interview. The enrollment deposit deadline is July 1st, but if you are looking to live on campus and you want to be guaranteed on-campus housing, that deadline is May 1st for the enrollment deposit deadline. Anything after May 1st for housing is dependent on availability. So if there's a space available, they'll let you know and you can go ahead and pay that deposit for housing and then fill out your application. If any students are on the line for spring admission, which is typically in January, the I-20 deadline is November 15th with an enrollment deposit deadline of December 1st. So our deposit is not required for us to issue an I-20. These are our deposit amounts. So for our graduate students, we're looking at $200 for our deposit. And this section doesn't apply to anybody here because you'll get an application waivers by working with your counselor here. And it looks like I have a few questions in the chat, so I'll go ahead and answer those.
How many Indian students are
for engineering program? So just to let you guys, let me read the question so everyone on the line knows what the question was. But so how many Indian students are enrolled for the engineering program? So just so that you guys know, we don't have specifically an engineering school. So if you're looking for like chemical, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, that's not something that we offer at Montclair. If you're looking at our computer science, data science, IT, cybersecurity program, I don't know specifically how many Indian students are in that program, but those are typically the most popular programs our Indian students are looking at. So it is a large number. I think out of the 630 international students, I think the last time I checked, somewhere between 300 to 400 of that number was our Indian students. So I would assume that something like 70 to 80% of those numbers are probably in our computer science, data science, IT, or cybersecurity program itself. If there are any other questions, feel free to put in the chat. It is the end of my presentation, so I'm done just giving you lots of information, but feel free to put any questions you might have in the chat. So we have a question. Are there any specific requirements or tips for students looking to pursue postgraduate employment in the USA? Great question. Yes. So a lot of schools will put different resources out for our international students. And I think a lot of international students either A, don't know about the resources, or B, don't take advantage of those resources. So for example, at Montclair, throughout the year, we provide specifically CPT and OPT, which are your internships while you're a student, and OPT is employment after you graduate. They provide workshops throughout the year. And so you want to make sure you attend one of those workshops so you know what the requirements are and what to do. There's also a STEM OPT extension workshop that our office puts on each year. So you want to make sure you attend that as well if you are pursuing a STEM degree. And then on top of that, the other thing I would recommend is that you want to get connected with your career services office as soon as possible. You might not be able to work right after or right when you get there. Typically in the US, you do need to be on campus as a student for at least one academic year before you qualify for like internships and things like that. But you want to work with your career services team to get your resume updated. The format that you guys use here in India is not the same format that US companies are looking for when we ask for a resume. So you want to make sure that you change up your resume to fit the US model. And then we also have something called a cover letter. If you have never written a cover letter, then that's not something you could do in a few hours. You need to make sure that you work with the career services team to kind of practice that. And there are workshops that they put on that are related to all these things that prepare you to applying for a job. The other thing I would recommend is making sure you attend all of the job fairs that Montclair provides. Again, it's not a specific thing to Montclair, but most of the other schools in the US will have some type of career fair. So you want to make sure you come ready with your resume, dress up like you mean business, and then show up to put yourself out there and speak with the recruiters that are there. In terms of Montclair itself, we put on several different fairs for students. So definitely a general career fair once in the fall, once in the spring. But we also have a part-time job and internship fair. And then we have another separate one specifically for our business students that focus on only business related positions. So you want to make sure that you read through all the emails and then kind of so I will say, like, for example, Montclair, we have lots of different events going on, so it could be overwhelming. What I recommend is kind of read through the email to decide which ones are most important to you and make sure that you put in your calendar and you attend those events. Sometimes it gets overwhelming and then students end up not going to any events. You want to make sure that you don't do that. Honestly, if you attend one or two events a week, that's pretty good, I would say. So hopefully that helped you, Neha, kind of thinking about what you can do to increase your chances of postgraduate employment. Okay, how does the university help international students with cultural adaptation and settling in the US? Great question. I could really only speak about Montclair, but at Montclair, our office, we put on different pre-arrival workshop, I guess, webinars each month until you guys arrive. And one of those does kind of focus on what the weather is like, what we recommend in terms of you bringing what to prepare, things like that. Other things is that we have the in-person orientation where we really tell you about all of the different things. So we actually have a specific presentation where we talk about how to write to your professors, because hey is not a great way to start off an email. So we talk about the professionalism that is required when you're at school. We also talk about different things that are related to the US culture. So for example, we do talk about like tipping. That's not necessarily something that is I guess, normal around the rest of the world. So we do talk about tipping culture in the US as well. And then, so if you have any questions about cultural adaptation, our office is here as well. If there's something after the orientation that you come across, If not, if you are having maybe adjustment problems, things like that, we do have counseling services. And I know that sometimes counseling is not something that is well used in other parts of the world, but counseling in the US is pretty normal. So I believe we offer 8 free sessions to each student each semester with our counseling center. 30 minutes. If you just want to talk to someone, that's a great place to start off. And then I believe we also provide students with a free online counseling option through a third-party provider we have. So there are different things for you to use and take advantage of. Anybody else? Is there any in-campus hotel facilities, or will the university help in getting accommodation? So the only accommodation that the university assists with is the on-campus housing. So that's the ones that we went over during the presentation where I showed you kind of the picture. So if you want to live on campus, that's what something our university can assist with. A lot of our students are living off campus, and if you're looking at off-campus options, unfortunately, that's not something we support, just because that's a lot of extra things that we cannot accommodate. So that's why I do kind of recommend at least living on campus for the first year, because when you're living on campus for the first year, you don't really have to worry about finding an off-campus accommodation. But in that year, you are typically finding friends, and then you guys can kind of decide who's going to live with who. And then the other thing is that going to see the place that you're going to live in is very important. So online, you could alter those photos, Photoshop, it could be, a totally different place that they've sent you a picture of. So you want to make sure that you could like see it in person. You get to kind of take a look at what the neighborhood looks like. You could kind of see then how long it takes to come to campus. Are you going to need a car? Is there a bus? Is there a train? What are the different options? So that's the most that we provide is there's a website where you could find off-campus accommodations, but it's not monitored by Montclair State University. So we're not liable for any housing that you find through that website specifically. So that is kind of like a risk that you would take if you were to live off campus versus living on campus directly through the university. So one of the resources going back to, I think, the cultural adaptation is that our office did put together a website where we list like the hotels in the area, which you are more than free to welcome to kind of look at their rates and, live or stay in the hotel until you find an off-campus accommodation. But we don't specifically organize that for students.
We have 4 more minutes to go, and so you want to ask like very specific questions that you want to get answers to. Uh, yeah, so we're gonna end it at 2:30, but just wanted to say that we wanted to bring Montclair University to you guys. We're MyStudia. MyStudia helps students uh, well with counseling, researching colleges, universities, getting admissions, completing your visa process, and even we've started like accommodations, GICs, SIM card assistance, and some post-landing support services. So we're going to help you kind of get to the destination and interact with colleges and universities and talk to them directly and understand what it's like to live there. And yeah, my studios like advisors will contact you and kind of help you out further with more personalized guidance and understanding where you want to go, what courses are relevant for you, and how you can get admissions to Montclair University, right? So yeah, thank you so much, Naomi, for coming as well.
Yeah.
Any last questions that someone might have, we can put it on. We have like two more minutes to go.
So somebody asked what kind of academic and non-academic support services are available to students at Montclair. Great questions. So we do have support if you have a learning maybe disability that has been diagnosed and you need support services in your classes. That's something that we do have a department that works with students that need accommodations for learning. We also have tutoring services that are for free. Of course, there's a library if you just need a quiet space to study. We also have a commuters life department, so they help students for like commuter students. We do provide like a subsidized like or a lower cost for the train and things like that. Other than that, I'm trying to think what else, but I feel like the student life and commuter life is a really big um, resource. All of these resources actually do also come to our orientation. So there's a reason why our graduate student orientation is 2 days, and that's because we do, invite the different resources to come on campus. So the library is there to assist you if you have questions about how to search for different papers and books and things like that to write your research papers. They do offer different workshops as well that kind of go over writing skills and research skills as well. And there are definitely more out there on campus.
Yeah, awesome. We can take a picture if it's possible. I don't know if it is. With that try if you want.
Yeah, with the pennant, we could definitely do that.
Everyone, so if you want to turn on your camera, that'd also be nice.
My face is going away.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think they left. I don't think they want to take pictures.
They're too shy.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. I think got uh,
So hopefully that was good information for you guys to think about what living or studying in the US or at Montclair will kind of look like.
awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll end the webinar now.